but I have had, as usual, had problems setting this up. After pounds on audio equipment, we are set up and we are running and we are live. And currently it's saying nobody's watching. So I hope I'm on the right channel.
Is there anybody out there?
Is there anybody out there?
We've had to pay a ransom. He's
been
kidnapped.
Yeah, we had to kidnap him to get here.
To get him in.
And we had a bag over his head, but he was suffocating, so we had to let him out.
Yeah.
Oh, hang on. What happened then? Fishing Dorset, oi oi fellas, so somebody's watching.
Someone watching.
Yeah. Can you hear us, Fishing Dorset? I know we've had problems with audio, and I spent loads of dosh trying to get that sorted out, and then tonight I couldn't get to work. I'm not seeing any messages. 2 people watching. Oh, for some reason it's flashing up and then disappearing. Oh, here we go. Oi, oi, fellas, it gets you out fishing at UK evening all. Fishing Dorset Live, I can now. All stand for the judge, that's Rob Smith. 22 people watching, got 1 thumbs up. Evening pictures not great. Yeah, well, I'm sorry. Let's just have a look. I spent loads of money on a really top grade webcam, microphones, all sorts of things, and then the simplest thing lets me down. I can't get into Tony's.
We've been hacked.
We've all been kidnapped. The channel's been kidnapped.
We've been hacked.
Yeah.
So still not working.
Carl Gilbert, Big T, evening fellas. Why am I not seeing the text? Evening all. It's not doing well. Live chat. All flashes visible. Right, let's flashes up, flashes down. Top chat. Well, here we are. We are with Julian French, the judge, and Tony in the shop on another live Q&A. All been done on a bit of a wing of prayer. I've had to rush back from Gloucester. Julian's car broke down, and that was the excuse he was given, so we had to come and kidnap him. And we're in the shop. So if anybody would like to start us off with some questions on, in fact, I'll start something off. So, Julian, when and how did you get into fishing?
Started fishing when I was a kid in the 70s. Obviously, it was basically going fishing, playing football. I was too fat to play football, so I started going fishing, basically digging bait, going off the end of Southwick Arm. Met a group of fellas, obviously Mickey Webb, who's become a lifelong friend, and yeah, it's just basically evolved from there. So I fished from in the 70s up to the 90s sea fishing, and then for some reason the sea fishing got really hard. I packed it in and went freshwater fishing. I fished until 2002. Then had a few problems with the marriage for the fishing, and never picked up a rod again until about 7 years ago, and that's because I packed in the football. And basically got back into the fishing, met some people, obviously Tony.
He was in the 32-man league. We had 32 teams.
Yeah. Back in the 80s, obviously we had the Winter League, where you had 32 teams fishing. You had to qualify then to fish for a final. If you came in the top 4 in your league, you qualify for the final. Basically, then you went to fish a final wherever in the country. It was a big thing just to get to the final then. Obviously, it was very popular. Fishing today, though, is obviously one of them things where it's become a lot more condensed, but a lot more friendly, but a lot more high tech. When I came back, just did not have a clue. Didn't know where to start. It's like fished a few matches, and it was totally different. Obviously, meeting up with people again become a big part of my life again. And since then, obviously, met Tony, fished the over 50s, because I'm now old, 61 now. When I first started again, though, I met Joe Plumstead. Obviously, you all know Joe. He obviously was a bit of a guru to me. I knew his dad Bill, and obviously sort of it's gone on from there really. It's now an obsession. Obviously there's a lot of youngsters coming through over our way. You've got sort of like Darren Bond, Colin Carey, Ben Arnold. You've got all them people that are just so very, very good at their game.
Very good, aren't they?
And it's become like sort of we were quite elitist back in the day, but they've taken it to another level. Like Saul Page, world number one. I was lucky enough to fish with him in Ireland. He was unbelievable. The amount of effort the guy puts in. A lot of the Kent lads, unbelievable. So that's how I got back into my fishing again now. Obviously, sort of I love it. I live for it. It's a passion of mine. I have good days and bad days.
I heard you was a bouncer once, were you, at Mother Care?
I was a bouncer once. I've done a little bit of time. I've done a little bit of time at Sherry's.
I was going to say another bit
At
of
Pink
time.
Coconut. Long past me now.
I remember that from years ago.
I couldn't bounce a ball now.
Brilliant. He's always a good character. When I used to go over to Shoreham and that in the old days, and he used to be there laughing and that. I think one day we were on there and just couldn't fish. We were laughing so much in the old days.
I think that's the biggest thing about it all is.
Yeah.
It's all good stuff, though, isn't it?
I think a bad day's fishing is still a better day than at work. So
Yeah,
and I've had
that.
lots of laughs doing this in the last 6-7 years, and the banter is unbelievable, and I just enjoy it. So yeah.
Guys who are watching, can somebody tell me if you can hear this all right? Because we're waffling away here. Could be just you looking at the screen with people's lips moving. Got a few questions there. Right, here we go. I'm struggling with this tonight. All good. Right, Tony McDonald says it's all good, so that's good. Okay. Can you please tell me why you use multipliers down the rod rather than what would be the usual fixed ball position?
The reason why I came back to fishing, and I mean, it's like sort of these guys who use the reel down the bottom, basically they use free hooks a lot of the time now. Fishing's changed a lot since I've come back. They get more leverage with the rod. Back in the day, I used to use a multiplier reel up the top, but obviously to cast heavy leads now, big baits, the reel down the bottom, and it is one of them things that if you look at a lot of matchmen now, like Saul, you've got the Kent lads, they've all got the reel down the bottom. Gives them more leverage, they can push that lead out farther. They're using bigger baits now and again, they're using free hooks, rough conditions. So that is why they use the reel down the bottom.
Okay, I mean, I know Gerald uses
like
it.
you said, you get more of the rod working, I think,
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
If you're up the rod, you've got to be fast.
Yeah.
And you don't get the whole of the rod working, whereas as you've got it down the bottom, you've got an extra length working for you.
You've got a lot of line. You've got a lot of line from the reel to the first ring, and I don't know if that's an advantage or a disadvantage when you've got the reel down.
I think the thing is fishing's changed a lot. I mean, it's like sort of when we used to fish in the 80s, a lot of it was close in fishing. I mean, there's a guy over our way, Tony McDonald, people like that. They used to specialise. There was another guy called Nigel Ford. They specialised in flounder fishing, and it was whites and red rags. They could go out, they'd dig a lot of these fish, and a lot of these fish were closer in. It seems now that the fish have become further out, and I mean, when I used to fish back in the 80s, you had a guy called Richard Holgate. He'd use multiplier reel at the top. Paul Kerry, unbelievable caster. I mean, phenomenal. And then obviously we had the evolution of Neil McKellow came along, and obviously Neil fished in your team, Tony.
Yeah. He was a perfectionist, you know. I mean, he worked everything out. You know, he used to come here and he pay his petrol when he fished for our league team. And he'd go, oh, yes, Tony, that's £6.95 or something ridiculous, like £8. Still, petrol was cheap then. And he'd have it to the T. So that's how you knew how unique he was, because he'd know I owed him £6.90 or £8.90 for his petrol from Rye. Whereas, and the same thing when he was casting, everything was perfect. And I feel Paul Kerry was one of the best guys to see up the rod. Yeah. And he was dynamite. But Neil was just a class act. Yeah. It was, everything was to perfection. Yeah. You know, his car was immaculate. It's a bit OCD, but that's how you've got to be sometimes, isn't it?
I think the thing is with fishing, it's like you see people, I mean, it's like sort of, what I'd say to people is, if you're going to start fishing, it's like go along and watch a match. I left sea fishing and went freshwater fishing, and basically it's like sort of I was quite interested in it. They dug a little lake called Passage Pond, and a lot of the time I just went and watched people, and I watched how they baited up, and I watched what they did. And the thing is, it's like what you can then do is you can go to a match, and quite often these guys are approachable. What I've found, I've been very, very lucky since I started fishing again. I've met people, and I mean, there's a guy up the East Coast, Craig Bye. I fish next to him at the Asso. To be honest, I don't get nervous, but I fish next to him. And he was absolutely wiping the floor with me. And he said, look, he said, like, you got them fresh outs there? He said, like, any chance of a few of them fresh outs? I said, you can have the lot, mate. I said, I'm doing rubbish. He said, what? He said, them fish, they don't want like that sand eel today. They want squid. They want squid head.
Yeah.
They want the in-counter squid.
Yeah.
And at any rate, like, we started fishing. He gave me this squid, and I started catching a fish. And at any rate, like, so we fished all day. I had a reasonable day, and anyway, we walked off the beach. He gave me a big hug, and he said, "You'll never forget this day." He said, "I've showed you about hooks, I've showed you about trace line." He said, "And that will stick with you." And since then, I mean, a guy called Brett Cotter, Luke Mooring, Saul, all them people, it's like they've showed me little bits. And if someone came down the beach, I'm sure you'd be more than welcome to sit there. I know Joe gets an entourage behind him, Joe Plumstead. And Joe will be fishing. And Joe, I mean, he gave me a lift over here tonight. Joe is one of the most likeable lads you meet in fishing. He's unbelievable. Since I've known him in the last 6 years, he's pushed himself. Obviously, he now fishes for England. He is one of them guys that will share any information with you. And he will show you anything you want to know. What we want to do is we want to encourage people to come into this sport, respect the sport. I mean, obviously, fish management, fish handling, fish in a bucket, this, that, and the other, measuring. Catch and release is a brilliant thing, because what we don't see on the beach at the end of a match is like people going down, throwing a load of fish on the beach, and people walking by, especially in the world we're living in now, where obviously fox hunting gone, this is gone. We're living in a new culture now. So what we've got to do is we've got to make sure that we're cleaner than clean. And when I fished next to Craig that day, basically is fish measuring, everything was to a T. Everything had to be in a bucket when you run it over to him. Everything was measured. If he could get your fish in, he would. If he couldn't, he'd say, "I'm sorry, I can't do it." And I think that's the biggest thing. We're all working on honesty now. And I think what we've got to do also is make sure. There was an incident over here the other week with a dog that had a hook in it. I think we've got to be whiter than white. We're taking everything home and making sure what happened in the freshwater world, on canals, on rivers, if you left your peg and any rubbish was found on your peg, you were disqualified. So I think we've got to now look at ourselves, and we've got to sort of project ourselves as, although we do this fishing, it's a little bit cruel.
You don't see many match anglers leaving stuff on the beach, and I've been over there quite often, you know, when someone's been out the night before, and they're stacked, and I think, why should I pick this up? And I think, well, I've got to. I've got to. And I put it all in a bucket. I'll get home with a bucket of rubbish where someone's fished. There's no need for it, is there?
Not at all.
No need at all.
Not at all.
No, absolutely.
No, but,
I mean,
about that Marshall on Saturday, he's next to me. He's had nothing. I caught quite a few fish. He was a young lad, right? And all of a sudden his rod goes up. Before I can get hold of him, he's on it. I said, "You just pulled it out of his mouth. He's eating it. He wants it. He was gutted, but he learned. And the next bite he got, I said, "Don't you dare touch it. I'll kill you." But he's gone home wiser. He didn't touch it. He got a place of 23 or 24. He wouldn't have caught nothing because he was pulling it out their mouth. You know, silly things like that. And also, if you come along to one of our matches, we've all said this: don't be scared, because we will put you in the match. We'll do all your card. And if you haven't fished before, I'd tell Julian that the guy on the left hasn't fished before. Look after him. And so don't be scared. And you know, if you don't do any good, you don't. But some of the guys Sunday, fishing was so hard and the fish were in close.
Yeah.
And basically, Gerald won it because they were only 40 yards out. No, he made a mess up of a cast.
Yeah, no
He
fish.
caught a big flounder.
Yeah.
So he went back in there again and got another big fish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a couple of the guys who go with me who don't normally get in the money, they all got in the money.
Right.
It's really nice to see.
Yeah, oh,
You know,
definitely.
it's good.
I mean, it does go show that you can, you know, you can win matches with short casting.
Definitely, yeah. In place are all over the
Right.
shop, you know.
But
absolutely.
fishing with Dorset says, "Have I been drinking?" No, mate. I wish I had. And Rob Smith said, like you helped the angler next to you at Shoreham last Sunday. Was that to you? I guess.
Yeah.
Throw him in.
Yeah, but no. But the office, Phil Lee will love me getting a coconut there. We always laugh about that. What we came up with, if you blank, you get a coconut.
Right.
So obviously, I've gone over there. I fished a little club match because my car broke down. I was booked in for Tony's. I've gone over there. Basically, drew an absolute flyer of a peg. Peg one. Knew the tide was going to ebb, and I knew I was going to get that. Webby came down and he said, "You must be doing something completely wrong. I think you better go home." And he said, "If I was using them rigs, I'd just throw them straight in that bin up there. They're rubbish." But I fished next to this guy. I showed him sort of like some rigs. A really nice guy, and it's like basically, hopefully, I mean, like anything, it's like sort of obviously sort of Ben Arnold. Obviously, I know Ben really well. When I started fishing again, I knew his dad. Ben took me pleasure fishing quite a few times, and I mean, obviously, he's an exceptional angler, and obviously now he's gone into tackle development, stuff like that. And it's like with him, that little helping hand on hooks, stuff like that.
You've got a bit of stuff over there, haven't you?
Yeah, I've got some of the stuff here.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's like sort of show you some of his stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like he's got the bait stocks, obviously the cascades. Everything that Ben's doing now is stainless steel, so you can use it again and again, and it's like sort of one of them things. It's like sort of, he's a very, very knowledgeable angler, and it's like this sort of stuff. It's like sort of, I mean, people have said to me, he's just reinventing the wheel, but the way the cascades sit on the rig, everything like that. And I showed this guy these rigs the other day, and it's like I said to him, I said, it's like with this sort of stuff, if you go and buy this stuff, since I've been fishing, I've wasted a lot of money on stuff that basically didn't work. Yeah. And it's all a matter of trial and error. But if you can get a shortcut by talking to someone, you save yourself money and save yourself time.
Can we put the bait? I'm interested in seeing them bait stocks. Can we put up near the camera on a thing?
Yeah, I mean, it's like, I think I've got to put my glasses on.
Yeah, he sent me them the other day. I haven't had a look at them yet. They're supposed to be quite good, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, it's like, you can see the bait stops there. I mean, like, basically, the bait stops there. They're going to hold your bait, like, so it won't blow up the line. Basically, they're
better than a bead, aren't they?
They're a foolproof method. Yeah. And it's like, sort of with them, they're ready made. You can put them on your rig. And it's like, it does them in a luminous colour and a black colour.
I'm trying to get it so I've got a bit of glisten on the packet so you can't really see it.
Right. I don't know if you can see that there like that.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'll get some pictures of them and I'll post them up on in the comments or something like that.
I mean, I think sort of at some stage it's like sort of Joe was talking about bringing some rigs over here one day. Yeah. With sort of setting all the rigs up and so on, and like going from there. So to actually show people what Ben has actually sort of developed, how the cascades sit and so on. Yeah, and I've been using them for about sort of like 4 or 5 months now, and it's like he's obviously sort of really getting into this now, and it's like sort of a lot of match anglers are using this stuff. So it's good to see as well. Obviously development, stuff like that. Yeah,
well, I mean, it's not reinventing the wheel, it's improving on the wheel, isn't it? It's what he's doing.
Yeah, that's
exactly.
Yeah. So, Steve Defunk, who's he sponsored by? That's a nice t-shirt.
That t-shirt, basically, when I started fishing, I met a guy called Steve Arthur. With Steve Arthur, he's sort of basically sort of developed a bait pump. He obviously sort of like revolutionised these bait pumps. I mean, it's like they obviously use different sort of materials, this, that and the other. You can buy them in the shops, you can buy them off of Steve, and he obviously sponsors our team, SA Pro Pumps. and it's just gone on from there. I mean, basically, we're a sort of a new team,
Yeah.
come about, and yeah, we enjoy our fishing, no matter what happens. We always have.
Yeah, anybody coming on these lives, if they want to wear a t-shirt promoting something, as long as it's not something obscene, I don't think we object to that, do we?
Got enough porn on the channel.
Right, Big T would love to fish one of your matches, but the 6-hour drive puts me off a bit. Hang on,
In the summer.
maybe I should look at stopping overnight. Yeah, well, a B&B. We've been talking about, haven't you?
Yeah, we're trying to do a deal with a B&B down here, or the Langham Hotel, see if they can do a concession for anglers, because a few people have been coming down, but I'd personally recommend to come down March, April onwards, because at the moment it's tough fishing, and it's basically a long way to come, not to catch a few fish, but enliven up, wasn't it?
Yeah, later on. I mean, we had some great matches, obviously early morning matches, and we had some great times over there with plaice, dogfish, bass. I think you've done some of the videos of, obviously, the nomads are on the beach, can only
There
mean
was
one
some cracking
thing.
place called today.
Was it really? I saw,
I went over, he had a double shot when I got over there.
I saw the pictures,
I gave him some oldish bait, which I think works, because we're struggling with bait, and I said to him, and he moaned at me, and I said, well, you know, I kept him from the match Wednesday, that's all I got. First hour and a half, he rings me out as a go at me, and I said, well, and for once I fought back, and I said, look, no, I said, I'm telling you now, that will work. Because
I know.
We don't use bait sometimes, it's 4 days old, at least. Anyway, he's absolutely smashed his place. He had a 31 dab today, and he's going, oh, brilliant, brilliant. And I said, I told you the bait will work. I said, some of the guys even use frozen. I said, when they're not that finicky, these fish, they eat, don't they?
I think the biggest thing about sort of like for Tony, for a lot of tackle shops, obviously, I pump my own bait. I mean, I speak to Colin Crosby.
Do you use an SA Pro pump?
I use an SA Pro pump. Absolutely. If I used anything else, I'd get the sack.
Yeah.
He's got one of these. Max pump. It began with this.
So, like the biggest thing about for a tackle shop dealer is obviously this time of the year, trying to get hold of bait is unbelievable. Yeah. We get the high pressure come in, the cold, and it's like Colin Crosby. When I started fishing Hastings. He is like unbelievable, and he gets people ringing up from all over the country wanting rat bait. And at the moment, it is so hard to get bait. And it's like I speak to people all the time about fishing. I was in Gran Canaria. I'm talking about people about fishing. I wanted to fish Tony's match last Sunday. Car broke down. Bit of a shame. Got a coconut ashore. Terrible. So, but when you're talking to these people and they're going out and getting 50 worms, it's like so. It's very difficult. And obviously, these guys that go bait digging, until you actually go down there and have a go yourself
at 4 o'clock in the morning on a frosty, cold, wind blowing.
I'm seeing people now buying lug off me, like Gerald Sargent, Ian Hopper, Paul Parsons. They're all dig their own in. Yeah. But they're buying bait off me because it's getting that hard.
Getting really hard.
It's hard. I've been here for 50 years, as you know. Yeah. And it really is tough. I mean, it'll be good in a month's time, the spring. And that's why you catch in place.
You'll get the spring run.
It really is tough.
And the problem is like with anything in life gets harder, things get harder. But obviously, these guys, I take my hat off to people who go pumping bait. It's unbelievably hard. Yeah. And you have good days and bad days. But when you're going down there and getting 50, 60 worms.
But you tell people and they don't take it in. I said, he's gone to Dungeness, he's got 80 worms, does it for a living. Yeah. And his mate goes with him and he's got 80 worms. Yeah. I only got 100, and it just goes straight into someone's head. And oh, well, how many can I have? 50? And I'm thinking, well, come on a minute. I mean, fortunately, last week we got out of jail, we had over 2,000 lug, and nobody had any. No, they didn't. Because they went morning, night. But what I'm saying is, it's hard.
I know people who fish the Asso, and it's like we get people ring us up from the East Coast
George Smith, I've done his bait weekend for the assay.
We get people ring us up because it's like, obviously these worms, it's like they want the bait, and it's like, the thing is, it's getting harder and harder. I think I'm not sure about how sort of the Welsh lug's going now. I think that's got harder.
That's like, I'm not sure.
And it's like, sort of, obviously with all this sort of stuff, the ground's getting harder. We're catching different fish now from when I used to fish. We're seeing different ground now. We're seeing beaches that are just being eroded where rocks are turning up. When I started fishing 7 years ago at Hastings, you could fish quite a lot of the beach. Now they have trouble pegging matches there because the rocks have opened up. So the lug beds are going. And it's the same at Worthing. We're seeing like what used to be all sand, plenty of lugworm, blow lug. It's all rock.
Really?
So it's like one of them things. So it's very difficult with the lugworm now.
Guy, I'm getting a few comments saying the picture's not great. I'm afraid that isn't me. That's the internet, because the picture's good at this end, and I think it dropped out for a couple of seconds there. I think it's a slow link here, unfortunately. Right, Alex, I love that shop. Oh, love that the shop I got mail order gear from it as a kid. It's only I can watch from home. My first order must have been 40 years ago. All right, mate. Well, thanks, Alex. Joe, why is he called the Judge?
The Judge. The Judge came from must have been about 21 years ago. The name's Julian. It's one of them sort of strange names, Julian. I don't know why my mum named me it. She might as well name me Sue. Like Johnny Cash. So anyway, like the thing was, it was like I met a group of lads, started knocking about with them, and basically it became Judge Jules after the DJ.
Yeah, Judge Jules.
And then obviously I had a bit of a spell following Brighton Hove Albion, and
sorry
it's
about
like
that.
with the Brighton Hove Albion thing, it's like I was a bit of a big mouth out there. Like if you Google up the Judge Brighton Hove Albion, it's like, and it just sort of stuck really.
Yeah.
And it's a funny old name, the Judge. It's like I got them on my rulers, the Colin Carey and Ben Arnold done.
Yeah.
It's like, so yeah, it just became Judge Jules.
All right. Okay.
Brilliant.
Alex says it's Yuang people.
I am a jury as well.
Yeah. Dorset, fishing Dorset live.
Judge Judy. Oh, dear.
Yeah, we are struggling in Dorset for worms as well. Did bait digging as a kid for own use. It was graft. It is bloody hard work. Right, CJ screen match now much clearer. Honestly, that's not me. That is the internet, and there's nothing I can do about that.
I'd like to say another thing, just while on
Yeah.
lugworm. I've noticed and taken notice, and anyone who digs their own bait, I reckon they're 20% better off than someone who don't. And I was desperate to win this angling club championship last week, and there wasn't many in it.
Yeah.
But I didn't even go out drinking the night before, and I was in bed at 9 o'clock.
Yeah, somebody did comment that on the video.
Yeah, but when I used to go through all them lug and pick out my lug. Don't do that anymore. Just take the lug.
Yeah.
On Friday, I picked all my lug out. I wrapped them up the back there, all the small ones which we want.
Yeah.
And I think you get out of everything what you put into
it.
I have pumped lug, but I'm no good at it. That's one thing I wish I'd have done, because I did in the old days. I done 1,000 white rag, unstamped and stuff like that. I went everywhere. But what I'm saying, Isle of Wight, overseas.
Beveridge.
Yeah, but the thing is, I never could really dig black lug, blow lug, and that gives you a big edge.
Yeah.
Because you can pick out the ones you want to use.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And you've got the advantage of fresh outside.
I think the thing is, I think like sort of it's a bit of watercraft. It's like sort of basically, it's like if you're going to go to sort of fish a match and it's rough, then fish are going to be looking for them fresh outs.
I've fished a few freshwater ones like you do, and they sit there like this. It starts, and it's not quite started, and they sit there like this. And you think, what are they doing? But they're taking it all in what they're going to do. They got their plan. And me and Mick did it in the carp championships. And Mick would go, don't rush, don't panic, let them cast out. And I'm going, well, it started. Don't worry about that. We'll beat them. And he was so confident. We'd sit there for ages, and all of a sudden he'd put a rod out. And he'd go, don't put 3 in there, just one. And one over there. Brilliant. He's a master.
basically it's the same as sea fishing. Quite often at a match, it's like sort of I'd let someone cast next to me, and I will always cast out with a grap lead. I won't cast out with a plain lead because I want to try and see what the ground's like.
Yeah.
And also, I want to find what way that tide's running.
Yeah.
And one of the biggest things about it all is casting that lead up tide.
Yeah.
I learnt that off of the Kent lads.
Yeah.
Luke Mooring, Brett Cotter, people like that. They're exponents of this. Darren Bond.
Yeah.
Darren
Excuse
Bond,
me, I've got sniffles.
The biggest thing about it all is if you cast that rig up tide, them hooks are fishing.
Yeah.
If you cast it down tide, them hooks can be bundled up.
Yeah.
This,
Again.
it's a matter of like trial and error. A lot of the time I won't fish a loop over because I'm worried about that bottom hook bundling up. And so a lot of the time I fish 2 or sort of 3 hooks above the line, and I vary my hook lengths. And it's like a lot of the time in the winter I fish really, really heavy hook lengths. 30-pound Maxima.
Okay, well, that's interesting.
I always go for small hooks because it's like I want to fish for anything that's swimming.
Yeah.
I mean, like the other day I got bitten off by a conger. You take your chance.
Yeah.
It's one of them things. But it's like with hooks, saltwater champions, phantoms, small hooks, a dab will have it, a place will have it, a whiting will have it. You can still get a bass out on it.
Yeah.
So what you got to do with fishing is like sort of, I said to the guy the other day, you're fishing for a bite today.
Yeah.
And it's like, so make your bait small.
Yeah.
And it's like search around your peg. Put a roller on. Let it drift round in the peg.
Yeah.
You know, and so on. So experiment. And that's half the fun of fishing.
Yeah. I mean, I watch Joe a lot, and he's hunting constantly. He's changing his rigs. He's changing his baits. He's doing everything. Changing range. You know.
Yeah.
And he's constantly doing it until he's into the fish.
Yeah.
Right, back on the worms. David checks to get 200 worms these days is like you won the lottery. You used to be 400 or 500 on a good tide.
Very much so. Very much so.
Alex says you look better when the picture's fuzzy.
Hey!
Right.
How fuzzy is the picture?
The judge don't budge, apparently. Somebody said the Dorset Fishing Line. That's my man, the judge. That's SA. Oh, that's SA Pro Pump saying that. All right. I'm sorry. The picture isn't. Maybe it's because it's frosty. I don't know what, but the internet is obviously causing us problems. Feed has stopped. We're back on now, though. Is he on dial-up? Yeah, God knows what he's on. High pressure causing the picture. Yeah, it's probably what it is. It's high pressure. Damaging the fish and damaging the picture. You may need to drop the video and go audio only. I'm back. Lol, watching me, mate. That's John Spalton. Vernbro. I think that's it. Yeah, I'm sorry about this. I know a lot of people have been critical of the sound and the picture. This is a live broadcast on YouTube. It is never going to be top TV quality. It's always going to be a little bit scratchy. And I have spent a lot of money on the audio, and hopefully we're going to get it all right tonight. And for whatever reason, I've rushed here. I've been working in Gloucester, and we just didn't get it to work. So I'm on a phone, and the phone isn't even on a tripod. I'm holding it, which is why it might look a bit pissed every so often. Okie dokie. Right. So, what's been your biggest successes in fishing then, Jules?
And we won a Winter League final. It was fished over up on Milton Keynes on the canal. I fished with a team called Passes Angling Club. There was a lot of good guys. He used to. He's passed away. Trevor passed away.
Lovely guy.
He used to do a lot of sea fishing. Trevor did. Basically, sort of like
Cracking guy.
1990, I packed in sea fishing. Webby came with me fishing. Met a lot of guys like in this world. I've met a lot of guys in this world. You know, top of the sport. And it's like I got involved, started fishing matches, had a little taste of success. Just went on from there. So with the freshwater fishing, I think like fishing on the canals was a big buzz for me. And it's like sort of obviously sort of like it was winning matches and doing well on matches up there because it was a lot of finesse. people say to me now and again, why don't you go back? I mean, it's like, I know Eddie Green, phenomenal sort of freshwater angler. He does a lot of carp stuff. I couldn't go back because I couldn't see the hooks now. I have trouble tying hooks now. It's like I sit at home and it's like the wife sits there watching Coronation Street and I'm there in the lounge and it's like I've got my glasses on and I've got a lamp on and I'm tying figure of 8 knots with phantom hooks and it's like, and even then, but when we used to fish the canals, it was a size 26 and it was like a squat and yeah. So
yeah. So what's your best, and this is for both of you, what is the best match fishing tip? That's from
Unfortunately, it don't apply to me because I'm always worse at this.
Yeah.
You need to be organised.
Yeah.
Trevor Rooney, I said this before, said to me, if I was organised, I'd have won twice as much as I won.
Yeah.
And I got lucky in my career. But you need to be organised. You need to make sure everything's sharp. My son's doing quite well at the moment. He's OCD.
Yeah.
Don't know where he gets it from. Might be something to do with the milkman. No, but he's OCD and everything's perfect and like Jules said, got to make sure your hooks are sharp. And what do you think? You know?
I think like the biggest thing about it all is it's like
and learn to cast.
Yeah, see, it's like sort of obviously one of those things. If you're young, you're coming into the sports are working for you. Go and test them before you use them.
Yeah.
Don't turn up at a match and just think it's going to happen. Bait, unbelievable. It is like sort of one of them things. It's like since I sort of started fishing again, in the old days, it's like sort of you could put on a lugworm and catch a codling.
Yeah.
Fishing's changed so much, and the place invasion, the place wants soft bait.
Yeah.
Them flatfish, they want all flounder dominated around there.
That could be a reason the soft bait, because the bait that I give Shane today was old, and old bait really works. Sometimes. So I've got to be dead fresh or you know. And I was looking at it and I thought, oh, he's going to moan at this, but it's soft.
Yeah.
It's you have to almost go in and out. I said to him, don't worry about it. Because they're not stiffening up properly, but go in and out.
Yeah.
And you've got a nice mush on it, it's soft, and they'll just grab it, you know.
I mean, it's like the frozen bait.
Yeah.
I turn up for a match, and it's like I have 20 people rocking the bait.
Yeah.
And it's like I'm quite happy. And I think you've done a few videos.
Yeah.
Well, I've filmed you and I've watched you putting frozen worm onto a needle and then whipping it on the needle so it's soft, but it's not springing out.
Once again, effort and organisation.
Yeah.
I mean, and I think the other thing is getting confidence in how you're fishing. Go and practice.
Yeah.
Go and try. I fish like a local beach now and again. It's like sort of I go with a guy called Dave Wade. We live near the beach and we go down there and we have a little pleasure trip. And it's like we'll be doing stuff that's out of the ordinary. Yeah. And all of a sudden the light bulb moment.
Yeah.
And it's like with that frozen bait, it's like one of them things. You've got to believe in it. And it's like a lot of the guys up at Skegness, I know sort of like Colin Terry, stuff is near him. He put frozen bait and that's all he took. And he had enough confidence to do it.
Yeah.
But he's another guy, he's a phenomenal angler. He's like I was saying the other week, I think my found on country now.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Super confident.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think I've said it before, the pretty confident people one day. It's just when I was good. You just go down that street, look at them when you're in there, look at them when you're there, and you shouldn't say it when family, but you say to yourself, if I can't beat these, right, I might as well not be here. Confidence, right? But if you don't necessarily win, you come in the first three, you're confident. Yeah. Confidence is massive. I think the thing is, with a lot of these youngsters coming through over Worthing, people like that, when I started fishing again, I was travelling with Trevor. And he said, when you meet the Bond, you won't believe it. Yeah.
And obviously I knew Ian Golds, who was unbelievable. And Ian was sort of like a phenomenal angler, and it was like same as Richard Holgate. And it's like Darren Bond.
Yeah.
I mean, he's like one of them guys that he turns up on a beach, and he said to me, he said, if I don't be disappointed.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
And I mean, Colin Carey, he's the brains. He's like sort of unbelievable, Colin is. It's like he's baiting up, and they're so fast. They're young.
Yeah.
And it's like then you've got Billy Potter coming through. You've got Phil Lee. You've got Joe Wells. All these people, and it's like they put a lot of effort into what they're doing. And it's like, so the thing is, it's like turn up. Don't sort of like to this neck of the woods.
Yeah.
To be honest, it's like when I started, but whether and Pevensey and try and, you know.
It's just people just like I run a few small matches and I don't want to. You get to the stage we used to run matches and mine was 300 people, 336 people, but I don't want to do it, and it's too much aggravation. It's great for the town. No one gives you it. The town don't go, oh, bring all them people down there, all in hotels, and we give you 300 quid.
Yeah.
It's not like that. And you do all the organisation, and people start moaning, oh, there's someone on my peg. You know, oh no, don't need it.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, that's some reason why the big matches aren't so many. You know. But I don't know. We've done a one with 50 in the other week. It went well.
It was brilliant.
And we're going to extend the Nomads. When I pay in a month's time for the insurance, we're going to extend it to 100. So that means we can have a match, perhaps put a bit of money in it and have 100 in a match. I don't mind too much if we're insured, because we're only insured for 50 people.
Yeah, this is the biggest thing about it.
And we're going to pay the extra this year because we've got enough members, and we're going to put a bit extra.
Yeah.
Right, guys, I'm gonna draw this to a close because I'm getting a lot of people saying the picture's gone rubbish and the sound's gone rubbish and everything like that, and it's out of my control. It is an internet issue, I think. But it does mean that we've got plenty of things to talk to the judge about. So we'll have another night. I'll have to kidnap.
Fine.
Yeah.
I think on the more than welcome. Look forward to it.
And I'm sorry. I apologise for Julian's come out all this way over here with a bag over his head.
So it's a case of good night from me.
And good night from me.
Yeah. All right. Someone says, what is the insurance for? So
for fishing, if someone was to have an accident on the beach, you know, if someone was to leg was to crack off and someone got injured or taken to hospital, you must have insurance.
You got to have public liability.
Very insurance, public liability, and you get it through the Angler Trust.
Yeah,
it's around about £150, I believe, £148. But if you pay 200, which we're going to do this year, 220, we're insured for 100 people. And if you run a match without insurance, you are running a risk. You know, because at the end of the day, it's your life at stake. It's same like here. Someone trips over the step, I've got public liability in my insurance. If I haven't, you get closed down, £250,000.
Yeah, you know. I think we in the old days we never had any insurance.
No, we didn't. No.
In the old days when we used to chest wade out to.
Well, used to have Swintons next to us to run in there a day before a match. Go, can you insure this big match? And they go, all right, 30 quid.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it was terrible.
I mean, it's like the wading.
I know. It's terrible, but you've got to have it. You've got to have it, I'm afraid. That's why we take the £10 for the match. You know, to join the Nomads for the year. Some of that goes to the insurance. We take a little bit of money out the matches. It's only £1 a person in the Nomads ones, so that we can pay for the insurance. Yeah. You've got to do it.
100%. So 100%.
Bring him back next week. It won't be next week because I'm unfortunately I'm working away at the moment, and next week I've got a funeral to go to, so that's my day off written off. Yeah, I mean, re-recording the questions. The questions are on record, so I can watch this back through on thing and see the questions, and I think you can as well if you get the right setting. So if you want to see any of the questions, I'm guessing by the fact that people are now commenting again that the picture and the sound's improved. I mean, we'll keep going for a bit longer if you can hear and see it. Just let me know. Do you want me to keep going? Is it visible? Can you hear what we're saying? No reply. Oh, it's working okay at the moment, Andy Beatty. Well, we'll keep going, but the next time anybody moans about the picture, I'm gone.
Good night, God bless.
Picture's crap. Yeah, I mean, the picture is nothing. There's nothing I can do about the picture.
Song on here at the end.
Yeah, we got the microphones all set up.
I'll tell you all the kit.
Yeah, keep going. Well done, chap. Shame about the internet, and well done, Chris. It is better. Yeah, I mean, that's the internet dropping in and out. We know that it does that. But yeah, blow my nose. You know something? The reason I can't blow my nose is because both my hands are holding this poxy phone.
Hold on. Let me hold the phone and you blow it.